Not anybody want to ask any questions. This is a free-for-all. Don't do this very often, but it's Christmas Sunday, and some beautiful saints came in for the 7:30 service. So, what question you have? Yes, yes. It what? Right. No. The text has no article in it. The original text says just they came into a house. Text. But unique. See her logic? I do too, because when the temple is talked about, it is the house in the Bible. But when a house is talked about, a residence, it is not the house. But, you know, I'd like to explain it further to you. There is no article a or the in Estrangelo Aramaic. Therefore, you have to be able to work from the context, whether it was the temple or whether it was just a house. So just forget about a and the and work it from context. But the point is, when he was not born in a house. What does it say where he was born? In a stable laid in the manger. Right? But when the wise men came, he was not in a stable. That's the point. He was in a what? House. Back where he belonged in Nazareth with his daddy and mommy. Okay, another question? It's a great section of God's Word, isn't it? Yes. Yes, you get that from Luke. There's a time of taxation. So-and-so was governor. And he was governor from 14 B.C. and following. And a taxation was made in 6 B.C. So, our reckoning, 6 B.C. You have to work the calendar they call from the founding of the city of Rome. You have to work that calendar, and you have to work the old Jewish calendar. And then you got to work our calendar that we have today. You got to work it all the way around. And then you got other problems, because do you know we've dropped whole 30 days out of a calendar 2-3 different times. You know, they just took the calendar. Said we just now go to October the 1st. Did you know that? A lot of that stuff they've done. Right. And it's interesting, they drop this out of calendar. Sometime in the East, they drop it at one time. Then in the Occident, they drop, like in England, they made a whole 14, 15 days, they dropped one. It's a messed up mess. And I want to tell you something, if you want to get it straight, you don't do it in a half hour, an hour. It's something you just got to logically work through and work through and work through. But the thing that helped me greatly was astronomy and math. Wonder what the computers say about this. Okay, anyone else? Yes, sir.
Time of Eve up until Mary could have conceived Jesus Christ. Why did it take so many years for one to believe, like Mary believed? She totally believed that. Why did it take so many years?
Because nobody just came along and believed before. That's all. Just nobody believed before. Yes, sir. Back there you had a question? Meg? The birth of Christ? The birth of Christ is written in the stars. Definitely. Right. And that's why it's called his star. And it dealt with the birth of a king. And from the study of the stars, they knew that this king had to be out of that nation. That's why they went to see Herod. Because that particular star and the way it worked, from their astronomical workings of it, knew that it had to be out of Israel. This comet, which is very, very great at this time now, it's an unbelievably great occurrence in our world, in our galaxy. The Kohoutek, is that it? Comet, which now is right behind the sun, I think. Maybe, I haven't looked yet tonight. Was it clear when you came in? Is the sky clear? Not clear? I doubt if you can see it. You might be able to see part of the tail, but it's right behind the sun now. But a day or two after Christmas, around the 27th, 28th, it will move out from behind the sun. And then it's really going to be fantastic. We saw it the other night. It was just as bright as could be when we saw it. It was late in the evening when I thought about it. It's a real big thing. But this is the greatest thing that has occurred as far as the fields of astronomy and comets are concerned for centuries. Halley's comet, did a little deal, but this comet is so much, 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 much bigger. Tonight, I'm sure that there are no astronomers studying Matthew chapter 1 in away headquarters any place. They're studying their telescopes. Because every astronomer, every place, has got his lenses all polished up and all the data being put down. It's a great time for astronomy. I wish I was in astronomy, knowledgeable enough. I'd get a big kick out of this one too. Because it must just be... They think that perhaps the tail of it will be 80 million miles in length. That's a pretty good-sized tail. Huh? Isn't that something? I honestly believe that out of this comet there will be some great scientific knowledge developed that will help us to understand other categories of life. All right, any other questions? Yes, Bob.
Jesus being born approximately September 29th, did that put the conception around this time of year?
Right.
Did the confusion come about somewhere in those lines?
Oh, it had something to do with it, but not... There are other ramifications, Bob. The conception was right around this time of the year. And they got the conception all messed up with this other birth, the December 25th trip of the sun, the solstice, and then it got into theology, and theology just messes things up like crazy. But that, you're right as far... I think Bollinger has done a very fine piece of work in this field. We, of course, here at International have researched and studied that a great deal, too, and done a pretty good piece of work. There's some things in it that, of course, we will handle when we get into the last week of Christ's life in that seminar we're doing in April or something.